Hi, everyone. Welcome to the fall semester here. I'm excited to begin this journey with each of you. I suspect some of you have some questions about this class and why this is important for your academic journey. So, what is ethics? Well, very broadly, ethics is a branch of philosophy that deals with the questions about what is right and wrong, good and bad, or just and unjust. In simple terms, ethics helps us think about how we should act and why. Ethics differs from laws or rules established by society. Laws tell us what to do, what we must do, but ethics ask us what we should do. Sometimes what's legal isn't always ethical, and what's ethical may not always be legal. People study ethics to better understand their own beliefs and values, to respect others, and to make informed, thoughtful decisions. It's not just about memorizing what's considered to be right or wrong, it's about learning to ask good questions, listening to different viewpoints, and thinking carefully about what matters in life. Studying ethics provides students with the tools to analyze these complex issues, helping them develop a nuanced understanding of justice that extends beyond simple right and wrong. It prepares them to be thoughtful leaders who can navigate the moral complexities of our interconnected world while maintaining a principled position and practical effectiveness. Why is it relevant to you today? Recent corporate rollbacks of diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) programs offers a compelling ethical dilemma that resonates deeply with many young Black Americans today. Throughout 2025, major corporations including McDonald's, Walmart, Target, Amazon, and Meta have significantly scaled back or eliminated their diversity initiatives, citing changes in the legal landscape and political pressures following conservative activism and the 2023 Supreme Court ruling against affirmative action. McDonald's, for instance, announced in January of this year that it would no longer set aspirational representational goals for hiring or promoting specific demographics. It would end supplier diversity requirements and rename its diversity team to the Global Inclusion Team. This shift occurred despite the company having achieved 30% leadership diversity from underrepresented groups and meeting its supplier diversity goals 3 years ahead of schedule. Ethical complexity arises when we consider the competing perspectives. Corporations argue they are responding to legal concerns about potential discrimination lawsuits and changing political climates. They claim to maintain a commitment to inclusion while avoiding what critics call preferential treatment. Conservative activists like Robbie Starbuck have pressured companies to eliminate what they label, quote, discriminatory, unquote, DEI practices, framing this as promoting merit-based opportunity. Now, on the other hand, civil rights organizations and community advocates argue these rollbacks represent a betrayal of commitments made during the 2020 racial justice awakening. The People's Union USA organized national boycotts against McDonald's, stating, "This is about more than burgers and fries. This is about power. When we unite and hit corporations in their wallets, they listen." They argue that DEI programs were never about reverse discrimination, but about addressing systemic barriers that have historically excluded Black Americans from economic opportunities. This dilemma raises profound ethical questions, particularly relevant to you. Corporate responsibility versus legal risk. When corporations retreat from diversity commitments to avoid legal challenges, what are the ethical obligations to communities that have historically faced discrimination? How do we balance corporate risk management with social justice? Another thing, the nature of equality. What constitutes true equality? Colorblind policies that ignore historical disadvantages, or targeted interventions that address systemic barriers? How do we distinguish between the two, between promoting equity and practicing discrimination? Power and economic justice is another theme. When marginalized communities use economic pressure through boycotts to hold corporations accountable, is this an ethical use of collective power? What are the moral obligations when economic decisions are made based on political ideology rather than on merit and need? Truth and representation. As we see with AI, bias cases where, let me start again. As we see with AI bias cases where algorithms discriminate against Black Americans in hiring and lending, how do we ensure that claims of, quote, merit-based, unquote, selection are not simply perpetuating existing biases under the guise of neutrality? This example illustrates why studying ethics is crucial to you. It helps us navigate complex real-world situations where multiple valid principles conflict. The DEI rollback presents tensions between legal compliance, business interests, historical justice, and competing definitions of fairness. It encourages critical thinking about power structures and their consequences. These corporate decisions reveal how economic and political power influence social policy, how different communities perceive and experience these changes differently. It also prompts us to examine our responsibilities to interconnected systems. As future leaders, you must consider the role in either perpetuating or challenging these systems that create unequal outcomes. It challenges us to move beyond surface level analysis. Rather than simply taking sides, ethical thinking requires us to examine underlying assumptions, historical contexts, and the broader implications of these corporate decisions. This example is particularly relevant to you entering college and then eventually the workforce. As you must navigate an environment where diversity programs are being eliminated, even as research shows AI systems and hiring algorithms continue to exhibit racial bias. You face questions about how to pursue your personal success while addressing systemic inequalities, and whether to work within existing systems or to challenge them from the outside. So in summary, ethics helps us reflect on what is right and wrong, make better choices, and become more thoughtful, responsible members of society. We're going to have a good semester. You'll see me presenting lectures throughout the semester, and then you'll have videos from me that will give us examples about examining ethics more closely. I look forward to your questions. I look forward to the discussions each week. Let's have a great semester.